What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel, man. It's your boy Nate, and I'm back with another one. So today we reacted to how does he get away with this? So there's a lot of NBA players that get away with stuff like James Harden and stuff, and LeBron. You know, a few, just to name a few. But yeah, let's get right into it.
The game of basketball has been around for a long time. Since 1891, goaltending was not a thing, there was no backboards, most games ended with a single point scored, and just dribbling the ball was against the rules. Yet here we are today, 129 years later, and the game is still evolving thanks to players like James Harden. But Harden isn't the first player to bend the rule book to favor his eccentric and shockingly effective game. Allen Iverson's crossover was so deadly that the NBA made referees enforce stricter rules on palming the ball. Charles Barkley was so effective in the post that the NBA created a rule to prevent players from backing down the defense for more than 5 seconds without shooting, passing, or picking up their dribble. Kevin Durant perfected the rip-through move to the point where the NBA had to create a rule specifically to prevent shooting fouls when a player does this. And then there's James Harden, who continues to create a frenzy among NBA fans with moves that you would swear were against the rules. Most NBA players struggle to score even 25 points a game, but somehow James Harden is putting up 40 like the NBA is some sort of rec league. Here is every NBA player with multiple 40.
Right, that's how I feel. Damn it! Getting his coins.
Plus point games this season. And here's James Harden.
Damn.
How is he this much better than everyone else at putting the ball in the hoop? He's got to be breaking some sort of rule or rules to pile up these ridiculous scoring totals.
I mean, he travels sometimes, but not all the time.
There's got to be a legitimate reason as to why no one else in the NBA is able to do the things James Harden is doing on the offensive end.
It's just smooth.
Right?
He's just smooth like that.
But if it's just a matter of bending or even breaking the rules, why isn't everyone else doing it? I want to begin by showing you a chart that may blow your mind. If you've ever played any sort of organized basketball, you know that arguably the most difficult possession to create offense out of is an ISO possession. This means you don't get any screens, you don't call a play to get the offense moving, you literally, by definition, do everything yourself. These are tough. Coaches hate these. And
I don't know why they hate those, bro.
In such a possession. And that's because it takes a special talent that most teams don't have to pull off. It takes an extremely skilled purist to generate offense out of these situations. It takes James Harden. Here's a graph displaying the best ISO players. It takes James Harden. Here's a graph displaying the best ISO players in the NBA this season, with points generated in ISO plays on the y-axis and effective field goal percentage on the x-axis. Just to crack the top 20, you need to be an ISO specialist. Chris Paul produces about 2.7 points per game on ISO plays. Brandon Ingram is good for 3 points per game off of these plays. As you go up the charts, you'll see the league's most lethal scorers. Giannis, Kawhi, LeBron, Luka. Go even further, and you reach the realm of ISO demigods. D'Lo, Lillard, and Westbrook.
Westbrook's all the way up there?
So, where's James Harden?
He must be up there. Damn!
Yeah. James Harden is so good at ISO situations that he is almost off the charts.
That's
producing
crazy.
16 points per game just
like almost every possession.
Isolation possessions. This is absurd. It's borderline unbelievable. But this is the result of a player that has perfected the art of scoring.
Bro.
Just clear out and give him the ball. This is the result of a man that has found all the gaps in the rulebook and uses his uncanny skill and craftiness to finesse 35 points on whoever he wants, whenever he wants. But how exactly is James Harden so good at scoring? To what extent is he using lenient officiating and a flimsy rulebook to his advantage, and why can't anyone else seem to figure it out quite like him? Well, let's take a look at the receipts.
Some people say he
practices with a infamous arm hook. one of the first techniques Harden used
Oh
to get
yeah,
an
I hate
advantage
that,
on his
bro. I
opponent.
notice that all the
Here,
time.
Harden uses a lack of space to get inside
He
his
always
opponent's
do that,
arm
yo.
and rip through to draw contact as he's driving to the rim. This is very similar to the rip through.
This is the same thing that Clay was trying to tell the ref, like in the finals, like when they was facing him, that he don't do nothing. He like hooks him.
Move Kevin Durant would often use. Harden can now pull his arm through to draw a foul and disguise it as an act of shooting. But remember, there is a rule on rip-throughs to prevent players from doing this. But the rule states that if a player initiates contact before the shooting motion, it will be called as a non-shooting foul. Harden's move is so effective because unlike this move that is easy to sniff out as a flop, once Harden gets his arm under the defense, he can put up a shot at any point, and it will be a shooting foul every single time.
Damn.
It's completely legal and incredibly effective.
Bro, these teams going into the playoffs better pay close attention, yo. Especially with him, like Harden, bro. You need to pay attention. I think everybody should watch this going into the playoffs.
And according to some
Well,
NBA
whoever's
fans,
facing
it's
him.
apparently too effective since Harden gets far too many calls compared to other NBA stars. But when you take a look at other all-time great perimeter players in their best scoring seasons, Harden's free throw attempts fit right in with the rest. In fact,
he's like,
both
okay.
Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson attempted more free throws than James Harden has in their best 2 scoring seasons. Because
Okay, I
getting
got
to the
the damn
line
one.
isn't some sort of gimmick. It's a skill, and James Harden is the best at it. Next, let's take a look at Harden's Eurostep, a move popularized by Manu Ginobili but perfected by the Beard. We've all seen it 1,000 times. NBA players have seen it 1,000,000 times, and yet it works every time. But how? And is this particular variation of the move even legal? Well, Harden's Eurostep is all in the timing. The distinction here is the precise moment Harden gathers the ball in relation to his steps. See, this is where he gets really creative with the rules. Harden is a scoring genius in that he knows
I had a
exactly what he
feeling, bro. I had a feeling that was the thing. You have to, like, you could throw it in front and grab it, like, gather at the same time.
can and
I knew that
cannot
was
do.
the thing, yo.
At face value, this move looks like a travel.
Yeah, dude.
It's right there. 1, 2, 3 steps. But pay close attention to that first step. According to the rulebook, a player is allowed to have a zero step, which is the step that is used while a player is gathering the ball. This step is the zero step. Harden is still
I knew that was a
gathering
thing,
the
'cause I
ball,
did
so
that, and
he
people
still
call it
has
travel
2
every
steps
single
on
time
his
I
way
do
to
it.
the basket. I know.
Wow.
It looks weird. According to everything we've been told, this
so you
should
got
be a travel.
boom, boom.
But due to a shift in wording by the NBA and its rule on traveling, this is completely legal. And this is where
That's
many older
crazy.
NBA fans get frustrated with the officiating
Yeah,
and
everybody
lack of
gets-
violations
yeah.
being called in today's NBA. In 1995, this is a travel. Shoot,
course.
in 2005,
Now
this
that
is
is-
a travel. But with the league
Whoa,
shifting
that's a
to travel. Shoot, in 2005, this is a travel.
What?
But with the league shifting in favor of more offense, things like this are now not only allowed in the NBA, moves like this are praised. Which brings us to James Harden's patented step back. Or, in many cases, double step back. The move that has opened the floodgates to scoring outbursts by perimeter
That
players.
step back is
Guys
something
that
else,
rarely
bro.
ever used the move 5 years
That's
ago
side
are
step,
now
too.
relying on step backs to create the majority of their shots. Need space on your jumper? No worries. Just take 7 steps, a hop, skip, and a jump back to the 3-point line, and you've got all the space you need. At least, this is how a lot of fans see it. But similar to the
dancing,
zero
look at
step
that.
Harden uses in his Euro step, the step back is all about the timing of the gather and when the zero step is taken. Gather, zero step, first step, second step. No travel. Do this on any court in the world outside of the NBA and you'll get
I mean,
fans
that don't look like
every
a travel
single
right there,
time.
normal
But
motion.
again, the NBA is different.
That don't look like a
The league
travel
has really
either.
loosened up on its rules and James Harden takes
Oh, well,
full
'cause it's not,
advantage
but-
of this. But he isn't even the first player to do this. As we spoke about before, some of the best players in NBA history manipulated and bent the rules to their advantage so much that the league had to create new rules just to slow them down. Michael Jordan was so crafty with his tactics that Jeff Van Gundy infamously called him a con man. The legacy of players that were so dominant that their greatness was taken as some sort of gimmick or unethical tactic has no shortage of all-time greats. In fact, here's a list of players that had rules created specifically to prevent them from abusing the rulebook at the time. From George Mikan to Will Chamberlain, all the way to players like Derek Harper and Reggie Miller. In some cases, the techniques these players were using were so effective that future generations adapted them and the rule wasn't put into place until after they retired. It takes a special talent to be so good at a particular facet of the game that the league is forced to slow them down with new rules. But what happens when a player is so crafty, so genius, and so creative in his scoring methods that he doesn't have to break the rules?
Hey, I gave you 25.
That's dope, bro. This dude's smart as hell. Nigga. I don't know who he is, but he definitely broke down like what people have been trying to do. Break down the play.
Record books. What happens when a player is such a wizard with the ball that there really is no way to hinder their greatness without compromising the game itself? Everything Harden does, from his arm hook to his step back, is fair game for every player in the league.
That's always Magic, Westbrook, KD, and
sometimes they try.
James all on the same
Luka
team now.
Using Harden's double step.
Oh yeah.
Here's Kyrie
Irving using the
Paddington move. Here's Kawhi Leonard using the infamous arm hook. All of these players are able and willing to use Harden's techniques to get buckets and generate offense. And yet, none of them are averaging 35 points a game like him. Because contrary to popular belief, there is much more to Harden's game than flopping and rule bending.
What the hell?
If there's anything we've learned over the last 5 seasons, it's that there's only one James Harden. Just like Kareem and his skyhook, it looks simple, it's so effective, and yet you see other players try it and fail time and time again. Not many players can do what Harden does because it's much more than just manipulating the rules of the game. His shooting, handle, decision-making, and overall skill set force the defense into bad positions and bad decisions that would not be necessary with other players.
On the court,
from this position, the average player may need a screen or some sort of off-ball action to set up the offense. But Harden is different. His incredible shooting ability forces the defense to guard him extremely close. Add that to the fact that if the defense isn't in his grill, one simple step back will create an open look from 3. The defense is forced to commit to the potential step back. So now that they're forced to play close, Harden can now use his handle to blow right back.
Bro, so, and it's crazy. I broke this down a long time ago to like, in my head, like, I said the same thing he said, like when people get close, he'll attack the basket. Then when you back up, he's gonna shoot that thing. So it's like you don't know what to do, and he's like so quick at moving his feet and dribbling. It's like you really can't stop him, bro. That's wild, bro.
Past them. Which even before he does this, the defense is already second guessing. If he backs up, Harden is going to use a step back. If he gets closer, Harden is going to use an array of techniques to get into the lane. So that's what he does. Now that he's inside, his excellent passing ability comes into play. The defense must commit to stopping Harden or stay with his man and leave the lane wide open for a layup. Even a great post defender is going to get abused at this point because of Harden's ability to finish through contact or find the open man with a crafty pass. And that's a bucket or assist 90% of the time. And it all started back here. No screens, no offensive schemes. Just a guy with the ball.
Bro, see how he just forced you to open up?
No offensive scheme. Just a guy with the ball and a defender on a lonely, desolate island trying his absolute best to not get exposed.
I swear, this dude, James Harden's the number one, like, exposer, bro. Like, he'll expose anybody in the league.
Does James Harden break the rules of basketball to get his buckets? No, he doesn't have to.
That's
when
crazy.
you are this good, this crafty, this elusive and versatile, you can shapeshift your way to 35 a night regardless of the rules. Because if the NBA adjusted their rules on the court to slow Harden down, he would just adapt, invent.
I don't know why they made that thing where they don't shoot on mid-range for the Rockets until Westbrook came down. Now he shoots.
Hope you all enjoy.
But before that,
as always, until next time.
There was no mid-range shooting on the Rockets. Yo. Jimmy High Roller. What you rolling high? That was dope, man. Nobody can. So simply, you just can't guard. Basically, he's saying you can't guard James Harden. That was amazing, man. But anyway, man, you like the video, make sure you comment what you want to see next. And yeah, man, I'll be here all day. It's your boy, and I'm out.